This video, it says, why do Americans use AC so much? Genuine question. And the response is because AC is racist. Are you ready to blow your mind, guys? Let's watch.
So many reasons I can think of off the top of my head why Americans are addicted to air conditioning.
So many reasons, but the most infuriating one is that our buildings are built wrong.
Yeah.
In a great stitch, Desiree Stevens talked about how it was because of white supremacy and colonialism. Indigenous people have...
I'm so sorry, but it's literally AC is now racist. This is how far we've come. And, like, the ability to understand how wrong... Like, bro, if you look at her account, this video has, like, where is it? Like, a lot of views. I don't remember which one it is. It has a lot of views.
So
this is from 811.
had air conditioning.
This one's from...
Pretty sure this was the word.
It's probably up at the top somewhere. Is this the...
So many reasons.
Okay, it's like the fourth one in. It's got almost 200,000 views.
Conditioning.
It's almost 200,000 views, bro. Holy shit. These people are so ignorant.
Great stitch, Desiree Stevens talked about how it was because of white supremacy and colonialism.
Oh, yeah,
Indigenous people had air conditioning
Wow.
through streams of water built underneath the ground. Or
Hey, you know what? We also have streams of water underneath the ground. But you know what we have also? It's their shit under their shit. Whether it's a cesspool, because we shit into that, or you have a sewer system. So we quite literally couldn't do this because we have modern day sewage. And we also have a much larger population.
ways that work to the natural landscape, such as building in the shade. And there are so many more examples from what we call vernacular architecture.
Building in the shade. Could you imagine comparing a small civilization of a couple of hundred, like, there's probably more than that, but a small civilization, and also just showing one, like, particular building, but a smaller civilization where it's like, oh, hey, look, in this area, they could hide in the shade, to a country of 330 fucking million people. Hey, guys in Arizona, go just sit in the fucking shade. It's not practical. Because of technology like air conditioning, we have the ability to settle in areas that would be generally considered unsettling. There's also a conversation here that of cultural appropriation. You know, we're super racist as white people if we wear braids because that's cultural appropriation. But all of a sudden, if we appropriate this style of keeping yourself cool, that's okay. Where the fuck is the line? This doesn't make any sense. It's like it's cultural appropriation is a good thing when it makes us look racist. Like, hey, you should be appropriating air conditioning culture, but you cannot wear braids because hairstyles are not okay.
For example, wind catchers from Iran,
Oh,
a famously hot place.
wow.
These were incredibly effective cooling systems.
Were they incredibly effective? Hey, what happens when you have a lot of buildings and the wind can't pass through that? Oh, it doesn't work. It's impractical. A third grader could go like, yeah, what happens if buildings block the wind? It's like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. Also, I would imagine it would be more economically efficient, or more efficient in general, to just put up a wind turbine to generate the power for the air conditioning instead of putting up these fucking these things here. Also, what happens if there's not enough wind in an area? I just, like, do you live in our society? Like, how do you live in our society and probably use air conditioning? Like, right, it's like she uses AC. She doesn't have a fucking architectural wind turbine, whatever the fuck it's called. She doesn't have that. She uses an AC, and she's like, guys, this is racist. Really? Then you're racist by your logic. You're an idiot. Like, I don't understand. Go sit outside. Go find a house in the shade. If it's that easy, just go live under the shade. Have a stream going under your house to cool it down. Like, were those buildings structurally sound in the way that ours are? Like, our houses can withstand weather elements. Is that the right way to say that? Weather and patterns, whatever. Much better than these other houses.
These traditional Malay houses are designed to be porous that allow for cross ventilation.
Porous sounds like rain will get through my house. I don't know what to say. It also looks like it'll get pulled down in like a gust of wind of 30 miles an hour.
There's another self-ventilating house from southern Turkey.
It sounds like bugs will get in. I just don't understand. Like,
So if the colonizers had not killed everybody and learned how they could naturally cool their buildings, we might not need air conditioning.
whoa, How do you show a picture of skyscrapers and then think that wind will be able to go through these things? Have you ever walked through the city? There's no wind. There are massive buildings blocking it. Do you know how wind works? It's like 5 degrees hotter in the city than it is anywhere else. Like, I live in New York. The city is just hotter. Baseline. How are you this deficient to like virtue signal? Oh, air conditioning is racist, bro. I'm flabbergasted. Everything's white supremacy. Dude, what are you talking about? Bro, you want to know why we have AC? It's because it's hot and it's humid and we live in areas that people shouldn't. Like, what? Ventilation is not air conditioning. Also, Europe uses air conditioning less and they are more rooted in white supremacy. Weird, but also because it's not as hot over there. Bro, people like this are just so ignorant. And the fact that like 50,000 people liked it shows me that there's a lot of like really just dumb people that just want to call everything racist. This is virtue signaling fucking progressive nonsense. This person's an idiot. Oh my God. Jesus. Great post. People really underestimate architecture and how it controls heating and cooling. You're so dumb. Oh my God.
One of my favorite examples of vernacular architecture is shotgun houses. This is a New Orleans vernacular architecture that's bright, it's ornamental, it's self-cooling, builds a strong sense of community, and it is directly derived from West African vernacular architecture.
Who cares?
But first, what is a shotgun house? It's a small home with
a colorful house that deters
no hallways where one room goes right after the other. Popular folklore says that that's because you could fire a shotgun from the front door all the way out the back door, but it more likely comes from the West African Yoruba word togun, which means house or a gathering place. These homes were built mostly by free black inhabitants of New Orleans starting in the early 1800s. They were leaving Haiti after the Haitian Revolution.
It just reminds me of a trailer.
And brought their architecture with them. We now know from folklorists like Michael Vlach that this style originated with them in West Africa. Shotgun houses are built for the environment that they're in. Raised slightly off the ground in case of floods, the front door is also aligned with the back door, allowing for maximum cross ventilation. High ceilings also allow the heat to rise, and large windows also help with cooling. Over time, many added hallways, functioning bathrooms, second stories. For example, here's a double-barreled shotgun house. It's kind of 2-in-1. There's also sometimes overlap with a very similar Creole cottage. But anyway, it's not just about airflow, it's also about community building. Shotgun houses are very narrow and built really closely together. This allows for front porch culture.
Well, front porch culture? What about leave me the fuck alone culture? Like, I just don't understand. It sounds like these are like in poorer areas and don't have the money for ACs or something. It's totally fine, but not everything is racist. Air conditioning is a luxury for fucking first world people. That's it.
In these neighborhoods, there's a strong culture of sitting out on your front porch with your friends at the end of a long day.
Probably because it's too hot in their fucking non-air conditioned house. Who would have thought?
Houses being built together with small porches allows for stronger community ties.
And people looking at your fucking nudity when you're taking a shit. Like, what? Like, get away from me. I don't want you right next to my house.
Some say that this is also a lineage of West African and Haitian communities.
Somebody's like, front porch culture is just a southern thing. It's nothing to do with race. Okay, that makes sense. Like,
Speaking of course, there's the really bright colors too. This is a very Caribbean aspect that's a huge part of these homes. There are also many, many different styles. Italianate, Greek, French, and Spanish influences as well. And that's what makes it Creole culture. It's a mixture of a lot of different things without losing any of its cultural vibrancy. Sadly, many of these homes were destroyed in the 20th century during urban renewal projects. They were seen as lowly, dirty, and impoverished, when in fact, as you can see here, they're just glorious. And of course, they were built by Black architects who built much of New Orleans. And speaking of, next we'll talk about West African Adinkra symbols that are woven into the ironwork all around the city. Like always,
oh my God,
there is just so much more here. But this was a little peek into one of my favorite type of buildings ever. As always, please like and subscribe.
That's cool, but like, it doesn't say that air conditioners are racist. This is just like weird, bro. Like, what a dumb perspective to have. Like, that's cool. People want to have those houses, but oh my god, everything's racist now. Those houses were destroyed during hurricanes? Probably. They don't look like super structurally sound. Like, yeah, white woman moment, bro. Honestly, holy shit, holy fuck, bro. Yeah, I guess I'll continue to be a white supremacist with my fucking air conditioning.